about communication. So I would say that 100% of the couples that come to see me tell me that they have issues communicating. They have issues getting their feelings across. They have, they end up feeling always in the same place, feeling not heard, feeling not understood, feeling that the other person is simply, too set in their own ways, and they just cannot find a way to communicate. So I wanted to give you a couple of keys and tips that I give them. And hopefully this can help you start that new cycle that we've been talking about. Start creating a positive cycle where you can actually connect in a very, very different way. So let me start by saying, so the first thing, obviously, when you find yourself in that cycle, when you find yourself being reactive, that's not the time to talk. So being very aware of how it is that you are feeling is very important, because in order to have good communication, we need to be able to come from a very calm place. So when we are coming from a reactive place, right, that's a place where we are not very receptive, because we are feeling triggered. We are feeling that our feelings don't matter, that we are not important for the other person, and guard is up, and most likely we are either frustrated or, so anything that we say, even if it's the right words, but if I'm feeling frustrated, it will come through with that feeling. So how I'm feeling is key into how I create this new and how I establish this new cycle. Okay, so first of all, both of you need to make sure that you are in a place where you're both receptive to one another. And if you start feeling triggered as this conversation is happening, you need to be aware of that. And you need to be able to express what is happening, right? So right now I'm starting to feel this way. So what is it that I'm hearing, right? Am I feeling criticized again? Am I feeling, that you don't care again? Is that what's going on? And what is my real feeling with that, right? So remember, we talked about this last time, right? It might be, I'm really feeling hurt right now, right? I'm really feeling sad right now. So can I express that sadness? Can I express that hurt? And instead of expressing my frustration, my anger, and what you lack or how bad you do things always, right? Okay. So after we've kind of recognized and we're both in this good place, right? It's important to set things around you in a way that can be conducive to a good communication, right? So just make sure that you have the environment, that you have everything set in a way that you can pay attention to one another, right? If there's tons of things going on, if the kids are, still they're not going to bed, or they're starting to fight, or we're receiving phone calls, or we're on our phone, figuring out meetings or whatever, that won't work, right? Our full attention needs to be in one another. So we need a quiet time. We need a quiet place. So we need to make sure that we have a good environment. Okay. Now, there's obviously certain things that are basic in communication, right? And that is, you have to look at each other. Eye contact is so important, right? And again, here it comes if I'm on my phone or my phone is kind of there and it does a little bleepy thing and I'm kind of looking, I'm not fully there with you. And all the nonverbal communication is really important, right? So when I'm hearing you, I'm nodding, I am kind of responding to what you're saying, and you can tell that I'm really listening. You can tell that I'm really paying attention to you. And that's really, really important. Okay. Now I'm going to give you the 3 basic elements that I give to my patients. And these 3 are, you can't separate them. Okay, they come together. So I'm going to mention them, and then I'm going to explain one by one. So the first one is there needs to be empathy. There needs to be validation. And we need to be non-judgmental. And again, they're related. You can't have one without the other one. So with empathy, let me start with that one. So empathy is this capacity to step on the other person's shoes, right? To put ourselves in the other person's situation, right? So how might it be like for this person if I'm really, really listening, if I'm really paying attention to what the other person is saying and how they are experiencing, right? Whatever is happening to them, right? How would that be like? Now here I'm going to add a little thing that I think I didn't mention in the beginning that's really important. And that is everything that you communicate has to come from me, my own experience, right? So if it starts to come with you this and you that, that's accusatory, right? And it doesn't come from my experience. So my experience is this is how I feel about whatever is happening. This is how I am interpreting, right? It's not the truth. I am not putting feelings or thoughts on you, right? This is how I am receiving. And I am expressing to you, right, my experience of this situation, right? So empathy is that capacity to leave aside your own stuff and try to put yourself and really, really pay attention and see if you can connect and imagine how it might be like if this was happening. How would that feel like, you know? How does it feel to feel not heard? You know, have you ever felt not heard? I'm sure you have. We all have, right? How is that like? How is it like to feel not important to someone? How is it like to feel dismissed? How is it like to feel criticized? Yeah, I get that. You know, that hurts. And yes, we get reactive. So, you know, so that's important. With that comes the non-judgmental piece. And this is really, really important because we are really good at judging others. And so non-judgmental is being accepting of the other person's experience and accepting that the other person does not have to think or feel like I think or feel, and how they think and feel is their experience. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with it. It doesn't, right? That's besides everything. But this is your experience, and I'm not judging your experience. And with that comes the validation, right? This is how you feel. If I tell you that I'm hurt and I tell you that I'm sad, well, I am hurt and I am sad, right? Have you ever had anyone say to you, well, you shouldn't feel that way. You know, you just shouldn't be sad. You just should get over it. Where does that take you? Right? That takes you to that place of why? Because I'm feeling not heard. Because I'm feeling that, you know, my feelings are not important to you. So validation is key. And if we are able to do these three things, the other person is less likely to go into their own defensive mode. So this is what we're really trying to do, right? We're really trying to have a conversation without our defenses, right? Without that reactivity. So how can we facilitate that? We can try to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. We can not judge them and say, yeah, I get it. And when someone tells you, yeah, I get how you feel. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me, right? If I feel that I'm not important, I do get frustrated. So I can understand how you would have felt that way. Your guard goes down. You automatically, that second, feel calmer. And imagine if you can both do the same thing at the same time. So, once again, if as you're doing this, you start feeling triggered, Notice what is really happening inside of me. What is it that I really want to say? And how can I say it in a way that comes from my own experience, right? And not being accusatory, right? Or pointing fingers, because that does not lead to anything positive. I hope that this was helpful. And I look forward to hearing from you if you want to contact me and just tell me, you know, a little bit of how it went. And next week, I want to share with you a little exercise that you can do to connect better with your partner. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then.